Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Marie Wehrung. Yes, did I say it correctly?
You
This
did.
is take two. Marie has so graciously came back on Her-Tastic Journey podcast. Last time we were on for a good over an hour just chit-chatting, and I thought this is great, but there was not a recording happening. So thank you for take two.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Again, welcome Marie Wehrung. She is a seasoned talent development professional, an ICF certified coach, and institutional transformation partner. She helps higher ed leaders move beyond traditional committee-driven approaches to get must-succeed initiatives moving with the speed today's landscape demands. In her time at Rice University, she delivered, designed, and ran programs that developed leaders and transformed the organizational effectiveness of the university. She's a contributing author to Leading the Learning Function at ATD and a colleague of mine through a business development cohort we were on for a whole year and a friend. So thank you, Marie, for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
the invitation, Charlotte. Good to
Absolutely.
see you.
Again, take two. So let's kick off question. Journey and inspiration. What inspired you to start your own business?
Yeah, so it was my time at the university was winding down. I spent multiple decades there. It was time to move, and initially I was in search of other employment. It's all I knew. Had never aspired to entrepreneurship, but the universe, as it does, was starting to send me pretty clear signals that perhaps there were other things I needed to be doing in lieu of jumping into another organization. When you apply for roles, you interview for roles multiple times, you think they
Yes.
fit like a hand in glove, and then they're followed by eventually the TBNT email, right? The thanks but no thanks. I've got
Yes,
my
yes,
little
yes, yes.
file of those. I started to second guess whether that was the right path. I had spoken with some folks who had been on a similar journey, had been employed in an organization for a long time. Their time there came to a close, and they kind of found themselves adrift for a little while, but eventually moved into the entrepreneurial space and were working as consultants. And so initially, when I heard that, I thought, not me. But fast forward a few months, and suddenly that became a possibility. And admittedly, the first year, I floundered a lot. I was involved in coaching communities, and a lot of the focus with the masterminds and the groups I was part of was primarily on what's called B2C coaching, right? Business to
Uh-huh.
consumer,
Yes.
one client at a time. And I, during that part of the journey, came to know the the group that housed that hosted the business development program that we were in, and saw more about the possibility of B2B, business to business work, and also had really not considered that, and of course had my own our own limiting beliefs about ourselves, the whole imposter syndrome. Well, I've only worked at a university, so how could I do anything but? Um, but I was intrigued and knew I couldn't do it alone. And what I had been doing for that year was not getting me very far. And so if I wanted to really give it a shot, I needed some serious support and coaching and guidance. And so that's what led me into that same program where I got to meet you, and I've been on the journey ever since.
So I really like that you said about the challenges of that, where we kind of put that belief on ourselves. Oh, I just worked at a university. Well, you
Mhm.
were there for a long time and you've met a lot of people, and it is Rice University. It's not just a university. But we put those labels on ourselves, right? We like, oh, here I am. This is who I am. But you're really more than that. And I love that you said those challenges of the imposter syndrome. And I was reading a book, Your Grass is Greener this week. I love the library. I go to the
Mhm.
library all the time. And I just finished it last night, and it had a little section on imposter syndrome in there. And I was like, oh, this could be a good talk.
Hmm.
So now I'm squirreling. But anyways,
Yeah.
your grass is greener because our grass is greener.
Mhm.
But we think, oh, I like this grass where I'm at. This
Yeah.
grass feels pretty good under my feet. So here
Mhm.
you are, jump the fence, had some challenges, overcoming them, and now you're looking at innovation and growth. So how are you fostering that in your company, Marie? Please tell me about your company.
Yeah, so my firm is Silos to Synergy, Strategic Advisory, and it took a while to land there. When I first started in the program that you and I both participated in, my intention was to run far away from higher ed. They've got deep pockets, short arms. They don't have money. They don't spend easily, except what I knew to be true is that there is money, there are resources. When the pain is great enough, they find it, and they'll find it and spend handsomely for big consulting firms to come in and put their stamp of approval or make their recommendations, even if the internal people have some ideas about what is going on.
I've had that
Uh,
happen in my own life also. They like we
yeah.
we internally in talent development kind of know what's going on, but let's go hire a
Mhm.
consultant for $500,000 and let them
Yeah.
let them tell us or
Right,
not.
right.
Yes.
So, yeah. And so, after going at it for about 8 months, attempting to break into other industries, I live in Houston. We've got lots of industries. It's a big place and really getting nowhere. It finally, there was kind of this confluence um, of thought with me and with coaches I was working with that said, why aren't you growing where you're planted? You spent your career in higher ed. Why aren't you? And so as I started to play with that and reach out to make connections, it felt like coming home because suddenly I understood the language, I understood the problems, I understood the org chart, I
Yes.
understood how institutions generally are organized, and which then gave birth to the name of my firm because what I know from my single data point in higher ed is that silos were very much a part of what we lived, and how there was a different way to think about a situation depending on whether it was on the academic side of the house or the administrative side. And in our particular instance, it wasn't unusual to present a suggestion for a new program or process on the administrative side, only to be met with, well, what is fill in the blank peer name doing? So
Oh,
we didn't want to step too far out of line with our peers
oh my gosh,
if it
that's
was.
exactly what happened in the industry I was in. Well, what are these two people doing, these two
Yeah,
other organizations that I see myself as a peer
yeah,
doing that we should be doing? That is very interesting because definitely, I'm talking about the construction industry, you're talking about higher ed, and the
yeah.
similarity is uncanny.
Yeah, and I think and silos are not unique to higher ed, but silos are pretty endemic in higher ed. And on the faculty side, nobody was asking faculty who were submitting proposals to get research funding, whether Harvard or some big name institution was doing that. No, we wanted to be on the forefront, pushing the envelope, and
Right.
so it was just a really interesting dynamic. And what I don't market is how we can help with silos, because silos are the water that institutions swim in. So any more than you can tell a fish that it's in water, it just doesn't realize that.
Right,
The
right,
same
right,
is true.
right.
And higher ed is being challenged in so many ways right now, between changes in DC, new demands, new legislation, reorganizing, things like the Department of Education. It's almost been like a whiplash, the speed of change over the last 6 months, 8 months in particular, but even beyond that. But nobody's coming for help because they have silos. They can't necessarily address the challenges they're facing. And when we dig in, you'll find that silos play a key role. But so it's been fascinating to have conversations and learn what boots on the ground issues leaders are facing and see how we can step in and help them get out of their pain. And
So
so that's what
that's
we're
a
doing.
good that's a great question. Then how so you we slightly touched on trends. Right now it is the who knows when this podcast how long this podcast will be out there in the world, but right now it's 2025
Mhm.
August.
Mhm.
And the political landscape in the higher ed industry, there's some movement happening. Do you see any trends maybe in the next few years, and how is your business able to adapt to those trends?
Yeah, I think I don't know in terms of trends. I do know that what I hear from leaders is that things that they put into place, programs, processes that were legal in 2024 have become illegal in
Crazy.
2025. Right. And
Yes.
so um, I also know that that what the presenting issue is not has a lot more tentacles than just what the issue looks like. And so I was in a conversation the other day with someone who is in the office of international students and scholars. And so the way people think about that office is that they're the ones who help bring international students to the campus to study as undergraduates or especially as grad students. And how with the many changes to visas and things like that, that's having an impact and learn that the impact is there's that like the change in the international laws and such is impacting their programs, but also cuts to research are impacting their programs because by cutting the research funding at an institution, that impacts the ability of these international grad students to be funded for
Right.
the research that they participate in as they're working through their degrees. So there are just so many ways that the different challenges higher ed is navigating intersect and impact different aspects of the academy, as they say. And so I think if there's a trend, it's more towards helping institutions zoom out and think really more broadly about who the players are, who needs to be involved in the solution, and not limit it to the international office needs to handle the international student issue, or the research office handles the research funding cut
Right.
issue,
Everyone's
because it
kind of in
does,
their own spot instead of being a
yeah, yeah.
collaborative organization as a whole.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, as an aspiring entrepreneur, is there any advice that you would give us, myself as an aspiring entrepreneur, um, in your journey so far?
I would say just circling back to the imposter syndrome piece. I've used the expression, I've used it for training I've done, but it holds true absolutely here that we are typically on the wrong side of our own eyeballs. And so how we see ourselves, how we think about what we're capable of, how we think of the way we'll show up in front of others is can be extremely limiting. And so to allow other inputs to reflect back what they're actually seeing, and whether that is using AI tools for that. I've done that, uploaded the resume and the assessment results and the LinkedIn profile, and gotten back what looks like a different person, a
You're like,
description of a
you're
different person.
amazing, Marie. You're
Right.
amazing.
Right, but people see that, and even the conversations I have,
I see
where
that.
they see thank you. They show they show us the respect for the background and the time and where I think, it's just fill in the blank. It's just me, it's just one institution, it's just this role, it's just And so seeking out that kind of support, whether it is through AI or through other people, through coaches, and allowing it to penetrate. And because until we get out of our own way and until it's hard to develop the confidence to step into things that might be scary, that we might be doing new for the first time.
Yes,
And
ask which voice it is, right? Which voice is actually talking to me right now? Is it my
yeah,
intuition? Is it my ego? Is it my inner
mhm,
child? Who is actually talking to me right now?
yeah,
Because if
yeah,
it's you, it's Marie, it's flows.
yeah. So that's what I would say. I think it really is seek out coaching, seek out groups that of folks who are along the same journey and moving in a particular direction and looking to support one another and be willing to ask questions, be willing to try and have something not work out
I love
and
that. That is
take
very
the
true. You're willing to try.
lesson.
Take two.
Yeah.
Take two on the on the
Yeah,
podcast.
but learn the lesson, take the lesson from it and move
Yes.
on. But it's so easy to get stuck and you've got to figure out the right way to do it. And we end up in this perennial loop of getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to
Oh
get
my
ready.
goodness.
And really
Yes.
all it is a way to hide behind the fear, perhaps, the lack of confidence. And it really takes just getting out there, maybe getting your knees scraped a little bit, but building those muscles and having that one little success, which enables you to move on and try the next little one and build from there. So
So what are your future goals? How can we reach you? And where are
yeah.
you seen?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm available on LinkedIn and I've got my website and I would love to be in conversation with anyone who either resonates with this or has knows folks in higher ed who may be dealing with some of these challenges and would like to make a connection just to have a conversation and see what's happening and if there's a way for us to potentially help. Um, so yeah, those are probably the most reliable ways to reach out. All my contact information is on the website and you've got that
I
address. So
do. Well, thank you, Marie. Again, I super appreciate you letting us have take two. And I think you're right. Maybe I did want to have another conversation with you. The universe opened that up for us.
see,
I want to thank Marie Wehrung from Silos to Synergy. I will have all your information available on this podcast. Thank you so much. Mwah!
yeah,
You're the
thanks.
best. I'm going
Thanks,
to turn off the
Charlotte.
recording now.